Well, shortly after midnight, we heard a call on the radio. And essentially, it said, we have had a bear attack and we need medical supplies. I remember specifically, he said we need surgical equipment capable of suturing a 4-inch wound, a bear attack. Well, that's not a Band-Aid, that's kind of serious. By that time, John Westover had been notified. The decision was whether he wanted to fly at night or not fly at night.
Notifying Westover meant Ranger Bunny had made a critical, necessary, but potentially dangerous decision. In 1967, flying a helicopter in a pitch-black night, skirting mountain peaks and valleys, some swollen with smoke, and then possibly blindly finding a place to land, was something of an extraordinary thing to ask a pilot. But John Westover was an extraordinary pilot. Since he was a teenager, Westover often said he lived aviation. A Vietnam veteran, he piloted helicopters in combat missions and advanced to the position of personal pilot for the commanding general. He also had something else going for him.
I kind of felt invincible, even in Vietnam. I never worried about things. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. It isn't going to do me any good to worry about it, so from then I put it out of my mind and it never bothered me.
Pilot Westover and Ranger Bunny had flown to the chalet a week earlier, but that was in daylight. It would be much, much more difficult in the middle of the night.
While all this was happening, we got another call from Granite Park Chalet. We think that there's a girl missing, and we need a ranger with a rifle.
With all the other rangers out on the fires, it was up to Bunny.
Went home and I got my rifle, a 300 Winchester Magnum, and I could hear the helicopter warming up by then.
At the chalet, Joan Devereaux, whose father was an Army officer, took command, which essentially meant two immediate things. One, prepare the area just behind the chalet for an emergency nighttime helicopter landing. And two, stop the search party from going back into the night to find Julie until a ranger arrived with a rifle. Neither task was easy.
746, this is Fire Crash.
Ranger Bunny called Joan again on the radio.
We said we need a circle of lights around the hitch rack. That's where we want to land.
We went out and built 4 big fires so that he could land in the middle of them.
The group also brought out flashlights to help guide the helicopter. A Bell 47G, a slow but turbocharged aircraft that was particularly suited for flying over high-altitude mountainous terrain.
We had nothing but a little glimmer to shoot toward. And we knew what altitude we were flying, and we knew what altitude that the chalet was, so we stayed above that.
Ranger Bunny tried reading a topographical map in the red glow of the helicopter panel to guide Westover over and around mountains and ridges.
It was absolutely black that night.
This helicopter did not have instrumentation for instrument flight. You asked earlier about if I was ever scared. I didn't think of it in those terms, but as I looked down at my knuckles, they were white, so I was gripping the controls.
As he was descending, I guess some people were shining their flashlights at the helicopter. And there's a property of plastic that had absorbed that light. And all of a sudden, the inside of that helicopter was just like daylight. And you couldn't see a thing outside of the bubble.
So we called and told them, no, shine your lights down on the ground. And we landed to the flashlights in the bonfire.
I took a lot of courage and guts to come in and bring that helicopter in the middle of the night and land.
Incredibly, another attack in another part of the park was only minutes away.
Copy 746.
Much of the drama and tragedy at Granite Park that night was picked up by other ranger stations equipped with shortwave radios. Leonard Landa and his family spent that summer at the Lake McDonald Ranger Station and were asleep when Joan Devereaux's first emergency calls from Granite Park Chalet crackled over the radio. Landa and his wife listened as the drama unfolded over their radio.
I mean, it was a miracle story. The fact that they built bonfires at Granite Park This guy flew this helicopter in and picked up the injured party and flew them out in the middle of the night.
It's still early in the morning, and the best description of our confrontation with the ranger station was bursting in and 4 people talking all at once.
At first, Landa thought they were talking about the bear attack at Granite Park Chalet. It took him more than a moment to comprehend the almost incomprehensible. The 4 young people were telling him that they had been involved in another incident, a second bear attack at Trout Lake.
She screamed, "He's got my arm." And then the other thing that she screamed was, "Oh my God, I'm dead," which was bone-chilling, obviously, and that was it.
After hearing and finally piecing together and understanding what had happened, Landa telephoned headquarters. They gave him the go-ahead to take his rifle and head to Trout Lake. Landa asked Paul and Ron to go back in with him. Someone at headquarters told another ranger, Landa's friend Bert Gildart, to follow them. The other people included a local fisherman who had arrived on horseback and helicopter pilot John Westover. Earlier, Westover had flown Julie Helgeson's body out of Granite Park, and almost as soon as he returned to his bunk, he was awoken.
They came and woke me up again. We finally found a landing spot, and the young people that were there were very anxious and told us the last time they saw Michelle Coons she was being dragged up the mountain by a grizzly bear in her sleeping bag.
The deaths of Julie Helgeson and Michelle Coons were a tragedy, but not a meaningless one. Great change and hope ensued. 2 years after the attack, Jack Olson, a well-respected crime writer, wrote a 3-part series for Sports Illustrated, later published into a best-selling book, Night of the Grizzlies. By almost all accounts from the remaining living participants, Olson's story is accurate and thorough.
The Night of the Grizzlies.
This program is available on DVD. To order, call Montana PBS at 800-406-6383 or visit montanapbs.org.
This program was made possible with support from the Greater Montana Foundation, the Montana Cultural Trust, the Friends of Montana PBS, the University of Montana, and from viewers like you. Thank you.